Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk about how much does a typical chess tournament cost. So, I've written a blog about this, and let me read off the blog. So maybe I'll show a link to the blog in the comments, or down below, I should say. Okay, so I played a tournament in Lake Balaton. Just came back from. So here I've written to play the Rigo Janos Memorial in Hungary, which is located in Balaton, Lao, next to Lake Balaton. So this is a town on Lake Balaton. I mentioned this already before in these videos. It's the largest lake in Central Europe, by the way. So it takes hours, or not hours, but it takes plenty of time to actually for the train to just travel down all the way down, you know. That's how large this lake is. And actually, when you looked it up, it wasn't even one of the largest lakes in the world, really. It was like the Crimean Sea, which is like the largest lake in the world, which is just more or less like a mini ocean. That's where Garry Kasparov grew up. He was born in Baku, which is on the Caspian Sea. It's in Azerbaijan. There's also lakes like Lake Superior. I think that might be number 2 or something like that. They're just enormous, basically. They just go on for like maybe hundreds of miles, in some cases, you know, certainly dozens of miles. But this one was pretty big anyway. I mean, it's a lot bigger than any lake in in the British Isles. I mean, I think there is Loch Nee in Northern Ireland, which is quite large, but Loch Ness, for example, is about 50 square miles. Just to give you an idea of how big Lake Balaton is, Lake Balaton is about 500 square miles. 500 square kilometers, sorry. So it's about 10 times as big as Loch Ness, which is, you know, Loch Ness, if you've been to Loch Ness, about 10 miles long, right? It's quite a big lake. Anyway, so I've written down the train from Almouth to Crawley was £64.90. Then I got a taxi to Little Fox's Hotel, approximately £20. Let me just move this slightly over, sorry, because I'm show off the double chin, you know, from all the eating. One night stay at Little Fox's, £60.75. Return flights with Wizz Air from London Gatwick to Budapest, £230.16. Airport bus and then metro to Budapest Delhi. So Budapest Delhi is where I got the train from to go to Lake Balatonel. And that was probably about, I think the bus was about £2 maybe. The equivalent of, might have been slightly more actually, I'm not sure, but it wasn't much anyway. It was less than a tenner altogether. The airport bus and the metro. In fact, the metro doesn't have. I think they're a little bit poorer in Budapest than say in England because the metro doesn't have, or in Hungary. Obviously, the nice posh parts of Budapest. Don't get me wrong. But in general, in Hungary, there's quite a lot of poverty, like a lot of places in Eastern Europe. So what I noticed was they didn't have like barriers, you know, where you put the ticket in. There was people standing there at the metro, and they told me to go and buy a ticket. Train from Budapest, Delhi to Balatonel. Give up on that, and then return. So basically, single was £7. It was so much cheaper than British Rail. British Rail is a ridiculous amount of money. You know, well, it's not British Rail anymore because basically the Hungarian railway is supported by the government. And they're pretty good trains, actually, to be honest. Nothing wrong with the trains. Bus and then taxi to Russ Hill Hotel, Charwood. That was on the way back. Was £23. So the taxi at Gatwick Airport quoted me £28. That's partly because of the fee that they charge. So essentially, what I heard was the taxi firms in Gatwick or there is, I don't know if there's more than one, but the taxi firm, they have to pay a charge to the airport. So essentially they're renting, well, that's the charge. That's why you pay extra for airport taxis. One night stay at Charwood Hotel, including breakfast, £68. Train from Three Bridges to Alnmouth, £104. That was a single. So the basic costs were £589.91. Now, I estimate this year already, I probably spent all the travelling around, all the tournaments I've played. I probably spent over £5,000 already on expenses this year, just on the card. Maybe not that much, maybe less, but I played a lot of tournaments. So certainly over 3,000. And obviously you get some of it back. If you're playing as a GM, you get a fee to play, right? Now, as I mentioned in my blog, I did receive a reasonable fee for playing in the tournament, but it didn't quite cover all the basic expenses. And then you're also adding food. Now, I knew that when I was going out there. I knew that I was going to make a loss. But that's the sad reality of being a chess professional these days, is it's not that you're not making much money, it's that actually you're making a loss, So that's why so many chess professionals, they sit at home and from what I can gather, most chess players, or most professional chess players, most full-time chess players that I speak to, most of them make money from coaching. I don't do coaching at the moment. All of my students dried up, so maybe they just felt that my heart wasn't in it or whatever. But yeah, it's basically all dried up. So at the moment, I haven't really got much money coming in, so I'm thinking about getting another kind of career away from chess, because the money in chess is so poor. And but that's just the reality. So £589.91, that's what it cost me to play. I did get money back from the organisers, very kind of them, because obviously, they also paid the hotel as well. If I'd have had to pay the hotel, it would have been a lot more expensive. I played Sitages last year, didn't get any conditions for that. And you're paying the hotel, so I ended up paying the hotel for pretty much every night I was there, plus the travel. I think it cost me over €1,200 to play that tournament. I didn't win a prize. So that sort of tournament, you think, was just not worth playing. Now, the one in Lake Balaton, it did cost me money, but it wasn't quite as bad. But yeah, I'm going to have to think going forward about whether it's even worth playing these tournaments anymore, and I'm going to end up playing less, and that is the problem. I actually want to play more now. I want to play more, because the problem with chess is there's no established circuit. There's, in other sports, if you've got like tennis, I'm watching tennis at the moment, Wimbledon, they know where they're going to play every week, and everybody pretty much gets the same conditions. It's all set out. They're all official tournaments. A lot of tournaments, I know some people play and they'll get conditions and I won't. I don't think that's fair, but unfortunately it's all down to the whims of the organisers. So yeah, I'm kind of getting fed up with the whole thing at the moment, and I'm thinking, like, how can I branch out? How can I escape? But anyway, that's the reality of the situation. Leave your comments down below. Do you think it will become too expensive to play chess tournaments in the future? By the way, I'm very happy to be doing a commentary with Nick Purr at the British Championships. Has already been announced, so that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. At least get a reasonable payday for that, as long as we don't mess it up, which we shouldn't do. I'll also be doing a preview with Nick on who we think might potentially be one of the favourites to win the competition. So could be filming that fairly soon, and that should be released fairly soon. So look out for that as well. Anyway, leave your comments down below, and please like and subscribe, because if you like and subscribe, then my channel gets promoted on the algorithm. If you don't, it won't get promoted, and I'll continue to be poor, and so on. How do I stop this?